Chapter 1. Who am I? Am I a loser? Hi, I'm Jack Higgins. I'm going to tell you my story of how I met the girl of my dreams and froze. Well, yeah, at first I froze, then I sulked. After sulking, I gained some extra weight. But before we get into all that, let me tell you what my life was like and why I needed to change it. First, let me switch off this video game because I'm like so way ahead of everyone else on Fortnite. I just can't afford to get distracted from the game I mean. It's funny how that works. I always say it's a matter of perspective. For some people, games distract them from the real world, whereas for me, the real world distracts me from my games. Or at least it used to. I'm an American man from Round Rock, Texas, where I live with my mom. In case you didn't know, Round Rock is a small town near Austin. Someone called it Round Rock because, well, there's an actual round rock in the creek. This little town sucks because, well, I know everyone here and everyone knows me. When you're in a town like this and everyone thinks you're a loser, then a loser you'll stay. The ballots are in, as they say. People here don't only know me, they know my father and grandfather and my mother's entire family. We are like the original Texans, I guess. The real deal. Not that there's much to be proud of. Like most Texans from these parts, we come from a long line of military service. A line that, unfortunately, stopped with my dad. God rest his soul. I hear about the greatness of my ancestors all the time, which also goes with some judgmental encouragement. You should follow in their footsteps, son. It's just another way of saying I'm a loser. The only thing I have of my dad is a medal and a picture. I was 7 years old when he was killed in Iraq fighting against those crazy Arabs. It's hard being the referees of the world. We always have to go sort out the crazy shit happening in other countries so we can bring peace, democracy, and whatnot. I sometimes wonder how I, an American, originating in the greatest nation of the world, the heroes and saviors of all humanity, could do my part. My great ancestors are probably going to be embarrassed to receive me when we stand in front of Abraham Lincoln, or God, or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how it works. I usually sit and sleep at the back on Sunday when we go to church. The greatness of America, the church, God, the president, is really sometimes all just a big blur to me. But yeah, fuck it, it's irrelevant. I just know that the Arabs and those Muslimic folks are evil, and that's who our enemies are. That's good enough for me. I'm told that my dad was a real hero. He saved many men's lives during his service in the army. He went to Iraq to liberate the women and children from the Muslimic rules. Like women are all prisoners there. While he tried to save them, they killed him. Those fucking Arabs are all crazy. We even have some Arabs in the White House. That's why I think Trump was right. America should be for Americans, but the Indians who were here before us are all right, I reckon. I heard one of them say that they were here first. I reckon that's fair enough, but that chicken hijab in the White House. Yeah, maybe she should go back to Arabia or wherever she comes from. Anyway, the bottom line is that they hate our freedom and democracy. That's what President Bush said. I might have joined the army. I know a lot of people there. Ever since I was a kid, it felt like the right thing to do. My mom, however, didn't have the stomach to lose another person to war and vowed that she'd raise me never to join the army. She'd always say, "Jack, them business ain't ours. Let them folks sort out their own shit. I already lost your father. I ain't gonna lose you too." She sure did a good job of that. I'm too fat anyway to join the army, but I also haven't joined much else. I was kind of wondering to myself if one day when they have robot soldiers, would my military gaming skills come in handy? Wouldn't that be sick? I've killed lots of virtual Arabs online. Elon Musk is a true all-American hero, building the technology that will make soldiers of men like me. I am likely one of the greatest gamers in the world because that's basically what I've done with most of my time. In school, I kind of sucked at sports, so that was a no-no for me. Instead, I focused on exercising my two thumbs, and boy are they really strong. That's why I have such an amazing rounded physique. It's convenient too. When I'm having a snack, I can rest things on the top of my stomach. How many people can do that? At 5'5" with a belly that makes me look around 8 months pregnant, it wasn't possible for me to do track or play basketball. Like really, they should invent more sports for people like me, right? They should call it sports for men who can't see their own dicks. What can I say? My life is great. Or at least it was great until my mom got fed up with me. Having spent nearly most of my childhood on the couch playing games because my mom didn't like that the kids outside would beat me up, I wasn't sure on how else to live or what else to do. Just because I'm 25 years old, my crazy-ass mom has been insisting that I get a job. A job? What for? I like earn money playing games. That's way cooler. Anyway, so everything was all good. I had my stash of porn, my awesome gaming console, my VR headset, and things were perfect. Who needs anything else, right? Well, we do kind of need the metaverse. That would be awesome and right up my alley. I don't much like the real world anyway. I look like an average white guy, only I'm fatter than most and shorter than most. But other than that, I'm blonde, with blue eyes, a semi-protruding forehead, and a wide jaw. I would have a strong jawline if you could see it underneath the fat. Ever since a kid, my mom kept my semi-curly blonde hair short. I'm not exactly known for my good looks. My mom has 2 jobs because she says she's got to be both a father and a mother. For a woman in her early 40s, my mom is still fairly attractive. She maintains her slight build because she works so hard and is about the same height as I am. She too is blonde and has scary green eyes. She has faint eyebrows and is pretty pale in complexion. Her red lipstick she wears contrasts sharply against her pale face like a Japanese flag. She usually gets home at about 10 p.m. every night from her second job at Starbucks. She always said that back in the day it wasn't so easy to get a college education, and at any rate, she got knocked up really young. She and my dad were seniors together in high school, and made me on their prom night on the back seat of my dad's Buick. My mom would always say my dad was the most handsomest man she ever laid her eyes on. Unlike me, he was tall, muscular, had dark brown eyes and pitch black hair. He had tan skin from spending hours on the football field and was mighty popular. When people say that the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree, they weren't talking about me. He had thick black eyebrows, high cheekbones, and a sharp nose. He had a wide-set strong jaw and was a tough man to beat in a fight. After my mom fell pregnant, my dad married my mom and had to pretend that the deed happened after marriage. Back in the day, it was a big deal to have sex before marriage. I never did understand that. Were they like stupid or something? My dad had to provide for his pregnant wife and had no qualifications, so did what his dad did. He joined the army and became a war hero. My mom says she always worried whether she'd see him again, but he always came home. It's not easy being married to a man in the army, never knowing if he is alive or dead. On that one fateful day, when that brown military vehicle pulled up in front of the house, she knew that it was bad news. She always reminds me of the exact words the officer told her on that tragic day. "Mrs. Higgins, your husband can't come back from where he went this time, because he gone to heaven." I genuinely feel sorry for my mom, even though she can sometimes be a real bitch. She tried to date a few guys over the years, but they usually never stick around, thankfully. I'm the man of this house, and it ought to stay that way. So one night, she comes home real pissed off with me. She starts ranting on about how I should contribute, and I'm like just staring at the screen playing Call of Duty. Guess what she did? Yep, you guessed it. She smashed my gaming console and chucked my VR set against the wall, yelling at the top of her lungs, "Jack Higgins, go and get a life, for God's sake." Can you fucking believe that? I yelled back, which I shouldn't have done. Get a life. I already have a life. So now I'm pissed, right? I go to my room, which is the basement, and I watch a movie. After that, I check out some porn, jack off, watch some more movies, jack off some more, and so on and so forth. You get the point. After like a month of chilling in the basement, my dick was killing me from all the jacking off, and I swear my right arm was like thicker than my left. It was like totally weird. Well, it gets better, or should I say worse? Whatever, you decide. My mom comes storming down the staircase one night and hands me a piece of paper. Like, what the fuck? I stare down at it, and she just keeps staring at me. I was like totally confused. "What's this?" I asked. She replied sharply with that arrogant frown of hers. "You start tomorrow at Hallmark, you punk-ass bitch. And you better not fuck this up." I made a big mistake just at that moment. They say never provoke a dragon. My mom is the meanest of the lot with that hot breath that will burn your ass. I replied, "Or what?" And she said very calmly, "And that's when she's at her scariest. Or you pack up your things and get out of my house." Do we understand each other? There's only one answer to a question like that. Yes, ma'am. Still holding the page in my sweaty hand, semen on my other hand, I figure it's worth a shot. I can't exactly afford to pay rent on a place. Or maybe I should take my savings and live out of my truck, which I affectionately call Amy. I got Amy when I was in community college. Yeah, I bet you didn't think I was educated right. Well, I did 2 years and then decided it wasn't really for me. I mean, who wants to be made fun of all the time? I kinda just stopped short of getting my associates because it was all a lot of bullshit anyway. Why take courses to take courses? But now I had more pressing issues. To shave or not to shave? Heck, when last did I shave? I kinda like the caveman look, but I'm sorta guessing that out in the civilized world they don't like us real men. Shave it is. Oddly, this is kinda exciting. I haven't been out in, I dunno, months, a year. Chapter 2. My first day on the job. I can totally do this. Jack, you fucking jackass. Wake the fuck up. You're gonna be late. I open my eyes slowly, only to see my mom standing over me in her white gown, her wet hair hanging over the front of her shoulders. That's just how my mom talks, all right. 9 a.m., holy shit. Luckily, I shaved last night. Although, I made a few blunders, but nothing major. I jump into my finest jeans, it's the one with the least amount of holes in them, and my trusted sneakers which I only keep for special occasions. No time for breakfast. Oops, I fucking always trip on that last stair, or whatever you call it. Hey mum, smell my breath, is it okay? Just chew this gum. Go knock them out, Tiger. I always hated when she called me Tiger. But today I kinda appreciate it, because last night she was a real bitch. Amy, my truck stinks like shit. I forgot to chuck out an old pizza. I love this fucking truck. It's got this odd color which is kinda blue, kinda gray, and kinda green. I mean, it's the only truck that doesn't have a color one can actually define. It's a serious truck, a 5-liter V8 engine built to last from the 80s. My neighbor, who is also a war veteran, always says each and every time he sees me, they don't make him like that anymore, with a big smile of approval on his face. Old Uncle Johnny always made me feel real good about Amy. Now, just in case you didn't know, a truck like this doesn't just start. It's not like those fuel-injected stuff with an automatic choke and whatnot. This is a real machine. First, you gotta give the gas one quick push to the floor and keep it there. That squirts some gas into the chamber from the carbs and keeps the carb open. Then you gotta swing it. As soon as it takes, you gotta pull open the choke a bit and let her run for a few minutes before pulling away. Uncle Johnny taught me a thing or two about cars. That's all he ever talks about. When I was a kid, he'd let me watch him work on vintage Mustangs that he would restore. On occasion, he'd let me turn in a bolt or two. Most days, he'd only allow me to hand him the wrenches. That was before video games took up all my time. Today, there's no time to let Amy warm up. So that she doesn't cut out, I kinda have to drive with one foot semi on the gas and the other on the brake. Amy doesn't like to be driven while cold. I heard this one guy say that in one of the porn films I saw. It kinda reminded me of Amy. Where'd I know? I am kinda still a virgin. Although, you shouldn't be telling anyone else that. Capiche? Right, it's only 15 minutes away to Hallmark, so I'll make it at 9:30-ish. Suddenly, I feel nervous. This is why I normally stay home. The kids down the road always throw my car with old rotten vegetables as I drive past. I don't want to say what they call me, but it isn't funny. Thankfully, today, they aren't outside. Perhaps this is a good sign. Today is going to be just fine. I've grown up in these parts and I know the folks over at Hallmark, so I guess this is going to be okay. This feeling I have whenever I'm forced to meet people reminds me of the day I met Tammy. That was in my senior year at high school. Tammy, now she was something else. She was like 5'3", with long slender legs, a beautiful tan, green eyes, and brown wavy hair. She wasn't from the South, but moved here with her parents from Portland, Oregon. She was shy, sweet, clever, and a bit of a geek, sorta like me minus the looks. Okay, and the sweetness. That was the only girl in high school that really grabbed my attention, and eventually I would build up the courage to speak to her. In fact, I would become her friend, but that would be all. Even though my dick would be hard as hell almost the entire time I was around her, it would just never materialize into something more than friendship. I just wasn't any competition for the other guy, the one who finally got her. He was a total airhead, but he was good-looking, athletic, tall, and his parents were rich. Basically, I am worried that I won't be good enough. But maybe, just maybe I will be. I brought my dad's medal with me for good luck. Maybe this time, if he's looking, he'll be proud. Clenching my dad's medal in my pocket, I marched through the door. I was the son of a war veteran. I must have some of that bravery somewhere in me. I walk up to the lady at the counter saying, "Hi, I'm Jack." She looks at me confused. A long, awkward minute passes us by. You can't imagine how long a minute can be. Her face says, yeah, and to which I reply, this is my first day. The wrinkles on her forehead subsides. I guess that's her way of acknowledging what I just said. Okay, just give me a minute. She picks up the receiver on her phone neatly placed in front of her on the desk. Tammy, there's someone here saying that he starts today. His name is, she looks up at me. Jack Higgins. I feel a bit dumb. If I was going for the James Bond theme, I should have said, Higgins, Jack Higgins. I stand awkwardly as I wait. The lady at the counter picks up on this and says, you can take a seat over there if you like. I replied awkwardly, no, it's fine here. As if my spider senses were alerted, I suddenly turned around. Well, not suddenly, more like slowly. I don't get to make sudden moves at 350 pounds. A voice sounding like it came from heaven bypassed my ears and went straight to my heart. It said, hi, Jack. I froze. Instead of responding, I just stared at her. Hi, is everything okay? I suddenly snapped out of it, thinking to myself that this was the worst day of my life. It was enough that I was nervous coming to this job, but now I'll have to work here being horny all the time because it's the same Tammy. Holy shit. Finally, I respond. Oh, hey, Tammy, is it really you? She replied warmly. Who else would it be? Trying to play it cool, I simply said, well, today is my first day here. What do you need me to do? To be honest, I'd much rather have been mopping floors with my t-shirt than stand there at that moment. She looked at me tentatively with a slight frown and then said, oh, okay. Let's get straight to work then. Follow me. Tammy suddenly turned and started walking. She had on white high-heel shoes, a tight gray skirt that was just above her knees, and a white short-sleeves blouse that showed some cleavage. I couldn't help check her out all the way from her feet, getting stuck for a few seconds on her ass that was moving as she walked. She clearly had on a G-string, and then moving all the way up to her head. This was going to be challenging. I wonder if masturbating in the bathroom would be in order. Get a grip of yourself, Jack, I kept telling myself. Tammy stopped, looked over at me, and said in an almost commanding way, you'll start here. I need you to pack these shelves with these products. I'll check on you in a bit. Follow the sequence you see on your right, and just keep going until the entire shelf is stocked. Got it, I instinctively said. Yes, ma'am, to which she smiled and then walked away. I watched her for a few seconds more, and then looked down. I heaved a heavy sigh. This was going to be the most exercise I've had in years. Lifting the boxes lined up on the tiled floor proved to be a lot of bending. For a fat guy, that isn't easy. As time went on, I got a bit clumsy, but then heard the jingling inside and realized that I was working with glass lamps. I thought to myself that I'm such an idiot. There's actually a picture of a lamp on every box. I decided then to be more careful, hoping that I haven't already broken some before realizing what I was working with. After like an hour of packing boxes, I was drenched in sweat. I thought to myself that I might actually lose weight. Even though the pay was lousy, just losing some weight would make this job worth it. I was tired and only halfway done. I needed to sit down, but there was nowhere to sit, at least nowhere nearby, and I didn't want to leave this spot in case Tammy came back to see how I was doing. While I was bending to lift a box, two little kids walked past with their mom. Every time I bent over, they started laughing. Their mom looked at them curiously, then she looked at me. Suddenly, the kids started laughing again. Finally catching the joke, their mom decided to walk over to me. Excuse me, ma'am. Your butt crack is showing, and I don't think it's appropriate. I paused for a while, unsure of what to say, so I just said, oh, yes, you're right. Thanks for alerting me to that important information. I will take it into consideration before I make my next descent to lift yet another of these amazing boxes. Would you like to buy a lamp? Also feeling embarrassed, the lady just snatched the lamp box from my hand, put it in her pushcart, and just whizzed away. Already sweating like a pig, I now had to put on my jacket to cover up my butt crack. This was going to be a long day. Note to self, tomorrow wear a long t-shirt underneath the uniform. Holy shit, the uniform. I definitely can't wear this exact same uniform drenched in sweat tomorrow again.